Today I'd really like to share my story with you about the moment when I realised the true power of a food forest. It might sound overly dramatic, but it was really quite a pivotal moment for me in my journey in terms of how I wanted to grow my own food for myself and my family, and I suppose what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, what impact did I want to have on the world. And so it's really about how I just didn't really truly understand the kind of power of a food forest really until I became ill. So I have always been a really active person. I love being outdoors. I was just busy being a busy mum, also running my gardening business, planting up part of our 5 acres that we were living on at the time, rewilding areas. I was a really active, busy person. And then one day I was just running. I was doing the 5K challenge with my daughter at the time. So we'd just been running. I was feeling really fit and healthy. Went to bed feeling a bit tired, and then literally woke up the next morning unable to get out of bed. It just seemed to happen overnight. And many of you who will have had COVID will completely relate to this story. And I just thought, oh, well, this is just a bit of a horrible coldy flu feeling. It'll soon wear off and then I'll get better. And instead it just got worse. And I found myself 2 weeks into this illness still unable to get out of bed, still feeling absolutely terrible. I couldn't even drink a cup of tea. And those of you who will know me will know that if I couldn't drink a cup of tea, I must have been really ill. I couldn't eat. It was just a terrible time. And that continued for a good sort of 3 months in the end, right the way through. I got ill in January, so right the way through January, February, and in March, I finally began to feel better, slowly but surely. But because I'd been in bed so long, I had all my muscles had kind of wasted away. So even just trying to get up some stairs was like climbing Everest. It was unbelievable. I just couldn't believe that I'd gone from being so fit and healthy to suddenly I can't even get up some stairs just in the space of a few months. And it was a really, really scary time that I really struggled with, because I'm a very outdoorsy person. So to suddenly be stuck indoors for so long was a real struggle for me. But what was really interesting was that as I sort of emerged from being ill, and once I started to feel a little bit better, I became really sort of quite stressed about the fact that this is the busiest time in the gardening calendar. Suddenly March, you want to be sowing seeds, you want to be preparing your annual vegetable bed, you want to be getting out there, and you want to be gardening. And I couldn't do any of these things. And my husband, who also gardens with me, he couldn't do any of those things either, because he'd been looking after me. I literally needed someone to bring me everything, from a glass of water to all my medication. I was on an inhaler. I've never had an inhaler before, but my lungs were just so inflamed that I'd had to have an inhaler. So he'd had to do everything, including looking after the kids, getting them to school, helping them to do everything that they needed help with at the time, because they were quite young. And even though I have been growing forest gardens for a long time, and we had developed some small forest garden beds in our yard, still most of our food at the time came from annual crops that we sowed and planted out every year. And as I slowly emerged from being ill, and it sort of became the beginning of April, and I went out to look at what needed doing in the vegetable garden, and really I was still too ill to actually do anything. The annual vegetable beds were already full of weeds, already completely overgrown, and I just felt like, with my very low energy levels, way beyond anything that I could begin to tackle. Whereas the forest garden beds, they just carried on. They didn't care that I wasn't there. They already had loads of perennial plants and ground cover plants, so there weren't any weeds as such, because the perennial plants that were there had already grown up and filled that space, so there wasn't any room for annual weeds to seed themselves about. And there were already some things I could pick. I could already pick some perennial kale leaves. I could cut some chives. I could, harvest some Turkish rocket. There were already loads of crops there growing that I could just harvest from straight away. And it was like this massive revelation about the huge difference between annual vegetables and growing in a perennial food forest system, and what that meant for me as someone who wanted a really resilient system. Like, yes, an annual vegetable garden is brilliant so long as you're always there, you always have time, and you're not suddenly ill for the vital sort of 3-4 months in which growing happens. Whereas the food forest, I'd say, I'd not been there, I'd not done anything. It just carried on doing its thing, just growing, bringing in wildlife. Everything was already happening without any input from me whatsoever. And I found this to be true of other forest gardens as well. And so where we've moved now, but we still have the field where we planted our original forest garden, and we just abandoned it for about 4 years because of moving house and all the things that happened in that time. And so, yes, there are probably a few more brambles than there should be in there right now, but everything else has just carried on growing by itself. So if I go in now and I just clear out some of the brambles, the food forest is still abundant, thriving, flourishing without any input from me. So it's such a resilient system. And I think that's a brilliant thing about when we take inspiration from nature, is that nature, it creates these resilient systems. They have to be resilient because there isn't anybody to come in and water or weed or feed. So plants have adapted to, grow in certain ecosystems. So when we learn from those ecosystems and we take those lessons back to our own gardens, we can also create these resilient systems for ourselves, to create, this resilient system for ourselves, rather than the annual vegetable gardens where we're constantly fighting against nature. We're constantly, creating way too much bare soil, which is just where all the weed seeds want to grow. And we're growing plants that have been highly bred, quite far from their wild relatives, to the point where they need a lot of human inputs, because that's how they've been bred. They've been bred to be grown in conditions where there are people to come along and give them extra feed and give them extra water. Whereas in a food forest, when most often we're choosing plants that are still the wild ones that we, find in nature, and they've barely been bred at all. So, this moment of being ill and then re-emerging and realising that the annual vegetables, without all our huge inputs, that system just failed. And yes, eventually I did manage to get on top of it, and I did manage to put in some late summer crops, but for a large part of that year, I got nothing out of that vegetable garden, where the food forest beds just carried on producing all the time, still with me putting in very little work. And I think that was the point at which I really felt like I need to share this with the world. I need to tell everybody else how amazing this food forest system is, particularly on a small scale, for people where, our job isn't growing food all day, every day. However much I'd love to, just be at home being self-sufficient all the time. I need to pay the bills. I have to go out and work, and I have kids who, also need my attention. And so, these food forest systems in a small garden, they can look beautiful too. They can look just as beautiful as a normal garden. So you're not losing out on anything by putting these food forests into your existing garden. You don't need to necessarily go out and get an allotment which requires a drive away and for you to take all your tools there and bring them back. You can, if you're lucky enough to have a garden space at home, you can put the food forest right into your garden, whether it's sunny or shady or windy. There's plants which will like all of those conditions that you can put into a food forest. So this experience really just cemented in me this passion for food forests as a system, this passion for sharing that knowledge with other people, to try and encourage more people to do the same. So if you know anyone who you think might benefit from a wonderful low input perennial system where wildlife can thrive, that increases biodiversity, then please share this video with them. Please tell them about food forests and the fact that you can do them even in a really small garden. And if you want to start growing your own, then take a look at my Food Forest Design Workbook, which is available as a printable download. And by the time you've worked your way through the 22 pages in there, which break everything down step by step, then you will have got to the point where you've designed your small-scale food forest.